hell? Oh, there we are. There we are. There I am. Woo! Woohoo! Woo! Wait, did I did make the tweets, right? I think I did. I think I did. Excuse me. Well, look who's here. It's me. It's me. It's me. Wow. Wow. It's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. My bad. Sorry, guys. Oh, thanks for the hydrate redeem. Hi, Trash. Hi, Amari. I need to turn off my save redeems when I'm not playing games that need saving. I'll refund that for you. I have some matcha. I'm going to drink that. Yes, sorry, I'm back from getting milk from the store. Oh my god, 5 push-ups. Okay, we're starting the stream off with 5 push-ups. I'm getting down. I'm gonna do. Give me a minute. Okay. God, I haven't done 5 push-ups in a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, I am so out of shape. God, help me. I feel sick laughing. No, it's okay. And ironically, when people who redeem this often come on stream, it's like the one way to get me to exercise. That's not fucking Beat Saber. Yeah, I'm back from getting milk in the store. Wow, crazy. 3 weeks? I don't know. I promise it won't be 3 weeks next time. It'll only be 2 weeks. It'll only 2 weeks. I promise. Wait, I did change my stream info, right? Right? Wait. I made sure I did it like hours before I started streaming so I don't forget last minute. Why is it frozen? BlueStacks, don't do this to me right now. BlueStacks, please. BlueStacks, I need you. BlueStacks, please, I need this. Okay, yeah, I did. I did change my stream info. Okay, it was going at 1 frame per minute. Oh, okay, we're back. Hi, Lisa.
How are you planning to waste your worthless life today?
Tucks hair behind ear.
There's no need to answer. I'm not interested. It was just a polite greeting on my part.
Yes, Lisa. Yeah, yes, Lisa. Okay. Wait, what? No, that's not what I meant to do, but sure. Let me claim my rewards. I don't have vanillies. Vanilla. Oh, I do have vanilla. What am I talking about? She's right there. Lol. Awesome. Gotcha tickets for me. Wait. No, no, no. I'm safe. No. No, 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 no. No. No gotcha. What do I want to do again? Right. Okay. God. Last time we read the first part of the 3rd chapter, if I remember correctly. Core Crisis. We are meeting... That's not up. No, I don't want. No. Oh, right. Whoops. God, I forgot how to fucking navigate the UI. Okay. Here we are. I think we read both of these, actually. Let's see. My memory will catch up to me once I start. The front of the pickup truck has been crushed and deformed. The poor driver inside is probably dead.
There are only the 2 of us left.
No, girl, he just left him, I'm sure.
Chief, stay behind me.
You still able to fight? Tough bones you got. Nothing less expected.
I think we've read this.
Want to join the Legion? Our boss will like you. You'll have much more freedom than being a running dog for the Bureau.
I only follow Chief's orders.
And work hard on your own.
You're on my ass. I'm still alive.
Hella wriggles out from under the burning pickup truck. Unfortunately, she's stuck to the opposite side of the vehicles. Are you injured? Can you come over here?
Worry about yourself.
I think.
I'll crawl over to
Yeah,
join you
I
guys
think
soon.
we did read this. Oh, you know what? It doesn't hurt to recap. Glancing at the burning driver's seat, she can probably imagine the driver's tragic fate and suddenly gets angry.
What do they have against us that they have to kill every one of us? I'm pissed.
She's
Let them all
pissed.
come at me. I'll give each of their
Think
heads
about
100
Hella literally
miles.
every day. She's so awesome.
Careful. That woman's here too.
I should probably read her interrogation. I feel like it's relevant to main story enough. Hi. You can hear the muffled, throaty voice through the crack on her helmet. She struggles to walk toward you, but this time Hella jumps out, covering over the top of the car, climbing over the top of the car.
Don't make me say it again. Get away from her.
Get away from her! She's in your brain asking you for pocket money. She smashes the pursuer's helmet hard with her steel bar, fighting back the already injured enemy.
There will be more of them coming. We must get out of here soon.
Honk. In front of you, an off-roader from the Legion has suddenly started. A familiar cap sticks out of the car window. It's wearer waving at you.
Yo, the car I've snatched this time ain't too bad. Wanna get in?
Hi, Che.
You're still alive? Way to go.
As civil servants, I'm sure you've got enough money for the payment. Let's go.
The car shoots off along the desert highway. You turn to find the pursuer you've left behind and see the woman chasing you, straightening up slowly. Hi, 99. Her helmet is split into 2 halves. Half of it falls off. Her loose white hair is flying amid the flames, and those bloodthirsty red eyes are gazing in the direction you're going. You hear Hella exclaim softly, her voice filled with shock.
99?
You know her? Hella doesn't answer, only stares at the woman in a daze. You don't press further. A different kind of extremely uneasy premonition is clutching your heart now. You have properly shaken off the pursuer behind you and are heading into the dark desert along the highway. But that doesn't mean you're safe from danger now.
Why aren't they coming after us? They've been chasing us for the whole night.
Zoya time.
Why stop?
Zoya time. The car is belting down the road in the dark, the headlights shining on a small patch of flying sand. You have a feeling that this is not an escape, more like you're constantly approaching something fearsome lurking ahead of you. You suddenly understand the true meaning of this premonition. Oh shit, Ambush had turned back. Hi, Zoya. But it's already too late. The figure suddenly barges into the headlights range. It's impossible to brake at this distance. You rush into her at high speed, but she doesn't seem to want to dodge at all. She faces the collision head on. For a second, you even think she's smiling.
No way.
Yes way, baby! It's her! At the moment of contact, the woman swings her fist hard at the car's front. Under the intense impact, both the car and you get thrown up in the air. Your vision blackens and you lose it was doing so good! Your vision blackens and you lose consciousness. Your vision goes dark, and you die.
You're awake now?
Hi, Zoya. This is a closed space, like the inside of a container. The shaking beneath your feet signifies you're moving. This is probably the Legion's truck.
A small bump like that put you to sleep for 3 hours. Looks like the Bureau didn't give you enough training.
Girl, I just got here. Oh no, I didn't get to read the options.
The new chief of the MBCC?
This is a rather violent invitation. She knows who you are. You startle and finally make out the faces of the dark figure before you.
I'm Zoya, the Legion's commander. In your terms, I'm the boss of a violent syndicate gang.
Damn.
The sinner you're hunting down is one of my guys.
Calm down. If she really plans to kill you, she'd have already done it. The fact that you're still alive means this person wants something else.
You're quite calm.
Waiting 3 hours for me to wake up. You must have something to say. She smiles, but there's no warmth in her eyes.
First of all, end your chase.
Okay.
No matter from whom and why you've accepted this mission, it's coming to an end. If you can't end it, I will.
Uh-huh. Whoa. That's crazy. Oh, sorry. I was distracted. She moves her hand to the chair's armrest and squeezes it, crushing the corner of the strong and firm metal piece like plaster, clearly exposing the message, "I'll end you." Your head throbs. Sitting before you is the head of the most notorious gang in the entire syndicate. A sinner so strong, even Ted fears. Destruction and sabotage are her instincts. You calm yourself, staring into her eyes. You ask her. And second of all?
You.
No.
The mania has been spreading in Syndicate for so long, and the authorities have done nothing. This time around, they're going so far as to violate the management regulations they signed on just to intervene. And they've set you on such an important mission, a new chief whose background is entirely unknown. You've led several sinners to wreck both Ted and Salva within a day, and even survived that kind of contamination.
She stands up and stamps on the cold chair with one foot. Oh. She leans over and gazes at you with contemptuous eyes, the shadow she casts blocking your sight.
I'm curious what kind of lapdog the authorities have gotten for themselves this time, and how they plan to use you.
Scratches the back of my neck. I'm not really special, I rely on sinners. Calm down, you stare into her eyes. You see there's no way out of here. You must pick a way to fight.
Your shackles are an absolute restraint to sinners, which means you are their worst enemy.
This woman is a sinner. Even if she's strong as a monster, she'll still submit to the shackles. Face her, get closer, and even closer. This is the best and final chance. You can touch her if you reach out your hand now.
What do you want me to do? Use your shackles? Come on, try me. Let's see if you're fast enough to subdue me before I break off your arm.
Dude. This is a real threat. You can't risk it and you raise your hand, but you can't back down like this either. Two of you are locked in a stalemate. Neither is taking action.
You're still resisting even now. You seem very confident in your own power.
Oh yeah, I hope my audio is not bad. Actually, I should have asked this at the start of the stream. I tried doing better. Oh god, my mic's speaking. Wait. Audio's good. Okay, great. My mic does seem to need a little bit of reining back, though it's peaking a bit. Okay, should be fine now. Should be good now. Alright. I don't hear anything wrong with it. Okay. Good to know.
But it's time to face the truth. You're in my territory now. If I run electricity through this chair, you'll soon breathe your last breath.
We're in an electric chair.
I know you have the ability to control sinners. Tell me about its effects. How to activate it, how to remove it, and the side effects.
Girl, I don't know. I just got here.
I need to know everything about the shackles.
This is her true purpose. I'm sorry, but I don't know everything.
Stop wasting my time.
She keeps looking down at you, locking her gaze on you. The call gets picked up automatically.
Commander, we've got some answers here. It's a special case. The MBCC probably hasn't completely figured out how the shackles work either. Currently, they mainly control sinners with these three features of the shackles: combat ability enhancement, weak sense tracking, and the Forbidden Force.
The Forbidden Force.
Once the shackles are established, the enabler can sense the shackled sinner's location and absolutely forbids specific behaviors in the sinner with clearly worded orders. The shackles must be established through direct physical contact. The removal condition is the death of either the enabler or the shackled sinner.
Yeah, thanks for giving her all the information on a silver platter. Good job. Zoya's observing your expression as she's listening, trying to confirm what she's hearing.
That's why those geezers picked her. She surely makes a good slave.
Damn.
Also, that other thing you're concerned about, it's confirmed too.
Oh?
Go on.
Mania intensification will stop completely in a shackled sinner. Not even contact with contamination will result in corruption.
No, you're not late. We literally started less than a half an hour ago. Zoya has us locked down in her truck on an electric chair. Good place to come back, I guess.
This woman can suppress mania.
Wrap up the interrogation.
Oh
Earl.
wait, that's
Once we arrive,
okay. That's
bring the
Zoya's
two
phone, not
sinners to me.
ours. That's Zoya's phone. My bad. I thought it was Chief's phone. Oh shit, Earl. I haven't seen this guy in ages. He straightens up. There seems to be no more need to ask you anything. Did Iron from Salva tell you that?
She's not gonna talk. She despises me more than lapdogs like you. It's a separate interrogation. The authorities' expertise. The Legion's got other vehicles. My subordinates are interrogating the others there. He did a good job.
Sinners have betrayed. What did you do to them?
That's rather unexpected. Didn't think you'd care so much about them. Relax, you'll get to see them soon.
The truck has stopped in the desert, in the desert, on the outskirts of the city. I can't read. You're taken out from the container and forced to walk on the white sand to a cliff, under which lies a huge crypt. And from somewhere deeper in the crypt, waves of something even more viscous and evil are crashing. No, stop double clicking when I didn't ask you to.
I knew I was right to bring you here.
Where are we? What's down here?
My subordinates have come here after leaving Salva. This is where the inheritance lies.
Oh boy. Oh my god, it's a CG. It's a CG on the thumbnail. You estimate that the bottom of the pit is around 30 to 40 meters deep. Containers and cranes are scattered down below, making the place look like a secret warehouse or a bizarre maze. The lightless night and the slowly flowing sand provide excellent cover, yet the flickering red light at the bottom of the pit makes the crypt look deep and dangerous.
Are you sure it's here?
Positive. This place is very easily concealed. That's why it took us so long to find the clues.
Guy who should start an ASMR channel. A lanky man stands behind Zoya. His left leg is making some mechanical operation sound. It's a prosthetic.
The ambushed party down there is not of a small scale. All the gangsters still alive have probably teamed up and are preparing for the final battle.
Just some wounded sidekicks. They're not gonna change anything.
You should worry about the inheritance itself. If we're right, where it lies is also the
I'll put it
center
on
of
auto.
Romania.
Quite stressing out, Earl. Look at you. You've got so much white hair, you can be the dad of the entire Legion. Don't worry about the contamination. I've taken precautions.
Which are? You were dragged before, Zoya. Oh, whoops, it's me.
It's this inheritance that can control Mania and set off this crisis.
Uh-huh.
Even the Legion wants it.
The inheritance, the unknown waves of energy crashing in the depths of the earth. It gives you an entirely different sensation than Salva's underground facility. All these people chasing after this evil power. Ted, the gangsters, and the commander in front of you all seem like villains to you. Oh, Eliside, hi. Mr. Truck Scene. So sorry, yeah, we just finished that. Chief strapped to an electric chair. Stop it, you can't tolerate the contamination.
I know. That's why you're still alive.
You want us to go down for you? She's going to hide in a safe place and let you and the sinners take the risk. You feel a hint of despise for the fearsome commander for the first time.
That's the authorities' style. That's not the way the Legion does things.
She's built different. Oh! She suddenly grabs your left hand, slamming you onto the truck behind. I forgot that's what I forgot that's when it happens. Goddamn, okay. As you begin to struggle, your forehead takes a heavy blow, shaking your entire skull. Next thing you know, she presses her forehead on you, nailing you firmly onto the metal surface. At that moment, you clearly recognize the burning violence and passion in her eyes, but somewhere deeper, there's an icy flame. A rage that's been frozen to the can't do. I'm sorry, they know what they're doing. Like, some of these descriptions, okay. But somewhere deeper, there's an icy flame. A rage that's been frozen to the core for a long time.
We're not like you. The Legion never runs away from fights.
The tension is crazy.
I will crush every enemy with my own hands, and I will do that by whatever means I can find, including you.
Awesome.
Come on, Chief. Use your shackles on me.
Oh?
You can suppress contamination, can't you?
Crush me too. Oh, who said that?
serve me.
Oh, I don't know. Who said that?
Suppress my power with your shackles.
She's so scary.
Otherwise, your wrist is going to get crumbled.
Extreme pain and confusion are hitting you hard. You can vaguely hear Hekate's shouts, see the two figures running toward you, and see Zoya dart her gaze to the side to glance at them. Feeling real fear at the moment, you instinctively grab her wrist with your right hand and feel your palm begin to burn. Leave them alone! Ooh.
Let her go.
The massive power gripping your wrist loosens. Your legs feel weak and you sit onto the ground, collapsing. Hecate and Hela rush to you in time, holding your arms to support you, but right now, even the nightmare is terrified. Having achieved her purpose, the fearsome commander acts as if nothing happened. She shakes her right hand, now branded with the shackles, clenches her fists, and stares down at you, seeming amused.
I'll admit, the reason behind your move is kind of cute.
Okay, man.
All right, what's done is done. Cut the grumbles.
How does it feel to be restrained?
I'm gonna
Nothing
sneeze.
special. I need to try it to see.
Oh, she's so scary. She looks like that one. She looks like that one people with blue eyes image. Except she's not smirking. She's just frowning at you, staring at you with her big ol' icy cold eyes. That's crazy. Wait, what? Oh, accidentally closed BlueStacks. My bad. When she finishes, she casually scoops up a worn sedan on the side and smashes it straight behind an abandoned container. Some startled shouts come out from there. Apparently, a group of gangsters has been hiding there for a while. Having been spotted, they can only toughen up and charge.
Set off the flare to have them get ready down there. We'll slow her down.
You're not.
We can't let the Legion
She's
take the
gonna
inheritance.
kill you.
Good timing. Come and be my sandbags. Let me see how these shackles can enhance my power. Hey,
Power.
you two, protect your chief. Before I go down, she can't die.
Okay, yay.
It's kind of useful. Makes good insurance.
Battle sequence skipped. She's placidly getting rid of the filthy and wounded enemies, looking calm as if the shackles have no restrictive effect on her at all.
That's what an S-class sinner is like. Chief, are you alright? Are you having any side effects from using the shackles on her?
Hecate hasn't left your side since, and her overly nervous look seems to lessen your anxiety. I've never heard you need to take special precautions to use the shackles on S-Class Sinner. As the leader, it's our gain to have caught this big fish. We're outnumbered now, but I'm sure you will find a chance later. We'll come up with a way to get out of this.
What way?
Chicken butt way. Fuck. This is only a big fish. Actually, main story progress. Chapter 5 broke me and Chapter 6 picked up my remains. Yay! Get ready to be broken again. In the Hamill chapters, have fun! The slanky advisor of the Legion suddenly emerges behind you.
Glad to see you're unharmed, our guests from Minos. Relax. I'm not here to kill anyone.
Okay, my bad. Someone barged to my room.
I'm Earl, the Legion's advisor.
He's Earl.
I'm here to sincerely ask for your cooperation. The purpose of the Legion's current mission is to seize the trophy that should have belonged to us. That is, to retrieve the inheritance in the cave. I believe you understand that this is the gang's internal affair, and it doesn't violate the management regulations. We never intend to go against the authorities. We only need the Chief's assistance. As for our commander's temper, I beg your forgiveness.
It's okay.
The Legion
No, it's
will
okay.
soon unify Syndicate. It's crucial for us to build a healthy relationship with the authorities early on.
So that's your PR manager. He holds out a hand to you, but you don't take it. Sensing vigilance in the two sinners behind you, an alarm is sounding in your mind. Was it you who separately interrogated them?
Yes.
We have a healthy relationship with Zoya, alright? Lol. We sure do. This man has an intricate mind. He'll only look for partnership from someone who can benefit them. Now that you've already put the shackles on Zoya, he must be seeking compensation in other ways. Seeing no response from you, he smiles and draws back his neglected hand.
I don't like dancing around the subject with the smart ones either. Let me get to the point then. I'm the second sinner of the Legion, and my ability is precise explosion. While you were unconscious, I've already implanted a bomb inside your body.
Joy!
Hold back your power, kid. Unless you want to see her head blow up right now.
This is the insurance you've taken for this partnership?
After all, your shackles are too powerful. I hope the partnership is established with both parties on equal grounds.
This idea of equality sounds laughable.
Rest assured, as long as the commander still needs your shackles, I'll let you live to the end. If you ever use the forbidden force on my commander, threaten her, or confine her, or if she were to die for any reason, I'll detonate the bomb immediately.
Oh yeah, what happens if Earl dies and he implanted a bomb in someone that didn't blow up, actually? What happens to the bomb there? Does it just dissipate, or does it just stay there forever? Like, what happens?
Once the mission ends successfully, I'll remove my power over you.
Okay. He turns to leave, the metallic prosthetic in place of his left leg clanging. He's not going to let you live till the end or allow you to threaten the Legion. Once the mission ends, the bomb will go off so that their commander can have her freedom back.
Wait!
Having been unusually silent, Hela suddenly comes forward. Ever since you've been reunited, she's been seeming troubled, as if searching for something.
That girl with the motorbike. She's not with you guys, is she? The Legion only hired her to hunt us down, right? Where did she go?
She's finished her job. She's left.
No.
Left? That's not possible. She was here to find me. She couldn't just leave without a
Why don't you ask her yourself then? Are the shackles on you stopping you from doing that too?
Let's go down. They've waited long enough.
Beneath the crypt, the ominous pulsations are still continuing. The gangsters are growing uneasy. They've obviously received the signal sent by the sentries, and the grand battle is ready to break out any moment now. You've been dragged into this dogfight that you have nothing to do with. From now on, either trying to get yourself out of the situation or continuing with your mission will put you in a precarious position. Boom, 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 boom. You come down into the crypt along a bare metal staircase. Up close, most of the facilities here seem long abandoned, but the scale of the structure is surprisingly big. Intertwining rebar and iron sheets under the moonlight look like a magnificent forest of iron and steel, but the annual rings have been eaten through by rust and white sand. Annual rings have been eaten through by waters and one sand has suffocated all vitality, and the place is totally forgotten. You glance at Earl, who's walking beside you. I didn't know grand places like this existed in Syndicate.
They do, and there are many of them. This is probably a desert warehouse built a few decades ago, made to cope with the huge logistic needs of the Dis City's exports.
We'll get back to that in like 7 chapters.
No need to look so surprised. Although Syndicate has become what it is now, over 30 years ago,
Yep.
it used to be the Dis City's true economic center and a mega-industrial city. Every piece of hypercube extracted from the Dis Sea was processed and went through the logistical and commercial preparation here. They were then shipped off to everywhere in the world with the West District's name printed on them. Huge factories, warehouses, ports, and furnaces were everywhere. This place is only one of them. Its remote location has made it invisible. That's why it's still intact now. It hasn't been destroyed by gangs, only forgotten. It's lured in some suspicious punks to squat in here.
What led to the fall of the West District?
A massive explosion blew up the mining area in the Sea, contaminating the lifeblood of the industrial city.
In 7 chapters.
The city went bankrupt and was abandoned. Simple as that.
He smiles faintly.
Are you asking me all this because you've never studied the city's history? Or you're really that unbothered
I
by your own
literally just got
situation?
here. Info exchange with cooperating partners. Natural, isn't it? You know he's monitoring you. Although you've ended up here because you had no other choices, you figure there's no need to be too anxious or hesitant. Having fully understood the situation, you've made your judgment. Both the origins of suspects are and the mania may be hidden in the depths of the script. You need information as well as power. It's beneficial of you to side with the Legion. You'll make sure you have the perfect control over everything. You must. You said there was suspicious stuff down here. What did you mean?
I meant, mind your step.
Landmines! Black sparks suddenly emerge from the ground on the right lane ahead. Next with a huge blast, countless pitch black spikes are shaking up from the underground.
Aha! Here they are, finally!
This is not just an ordinary trap. It's been contaminated. And the energy that activated it.
It's just
Were there
I
other
spoke up
sinners
early,
among
even
the
he could say,
gangsters?
why is she in charge? Then I knew he would be right. It's true. Why is she gray? Several strange figures are hiding in the shadow with weirdly shaped canes in their hands and in bizarre outfits. Their bodies are crooked in abnormal positions. I don't see the last detail incorporated anywhere in the design necessary.
Die. Die. Sheets curse of syndicate. Oh,
I know she's gray on
divine
purpose, but goddamn, she's gray.
Rain down upon thee. Thou voodoo shall smite thee.
What's that power? Are they sinners?
Don't be silly. Those are just the clowning frauds of thou voodoos. They always say sinners are demons and that we deserve divine punishment.
Divine punishment. As you're talking, an entire magazine of bullets hits the iron box beside you. Behind you, several hidden gangsters jump on top of a rusty container.
You've fallen for the trap! Die, die, die!
Huh. There are still Gonzalez idiots left alive?
Their strategies are well coordinated. It seems like they're ganging up against the Legion. Beware of those weapons. They're unusually powerful, and the attacks can activate traps. Be very careful.
Ooh! My bad. This is also a good chance. We should grab a few of those weapons. I'm curious about their power. No, no, Chief, that's a mania weapon, no!
Fire! The Legion is on the right! Fire! Red Falcon's little... Where's your cannon?
The Red Falcon's cannoneer is thrown off from the top of the container, knocking down his companions like a tumbling sandbag. Of course, the group who stepped out onto the container is Zoya and her subordinates.
Carnivore, Gonzalez, Red Falcon. Oh, even Thou Voodoo's is here. Except for Ted, we've got everyone here.
We'll take care of that too.
I thought only Commander's funeral could bring in so many people.
What a shame. Guess how many of them will make it out of here tonight and live till that day?
Oh, advisor! Relax, relax. Long live Boss Zoya. She's not gonna die anytime soon.
When Earl emerges with a glum face behind them, the joking lads immediately shut their mouths.
Yagyu is probably around here as well. The gangs have been fighting for years, but they're now united to go against the Legion. You've successfully unified Syndicate, Commander.
Awesome! Now that they're all gathered together, I don't need to look for them one by one.
Awesome!
I'll smash them all in one go.
Her gaze attaches from the calm and relaxed legionnaires and falls on the scattering gangsters down below, who are looking absolutely terrified and flustered. Very soon, they're subdued. You have to admit that when you're on her side, she's indeed very reliable. With Zoya handling the main battleground, you have time to retreat to the side and take a look at the trophies.
Here, thou Voodoo's cane.
For free? At the top of the cane is an embellished in a bizarre crystal, bright red and gleaming. Although it's slightly different from the liquid iron has shown you, you will never mistake this ominous feeling. It's a mania crystal. What exactly is this weapon?
It's a Syndicate specialty. A mania weapon embedded with crystals.
He's already used to your spontaneous questions.
It offers different abilities through the activation of the mania crystal. The gangs use it against the Legion, too. They desire power as strong as sinners. They've got what they want. When a user attacks with a mania weapon, their own mental activity will be amplified as well. To put it simply, the more bloodthirsty the user becomes, the stronger the mania weapon's effect.
And does the Legion want it too?
Only the weak imitate. We don't need that.
We got real homegrown violence here.
Be careful. The mania weapon won't cause severe contamination in the user directly, but that's only because the contamination is all transferred to the victim.
Huh.
You better watch out for stray bullets around you.
Damn. The gangsters who've been subdued by Zoya have obviously gone insane.
Use up your bullets before you go. Destroy as many of the Legionnaires as you can. Turn them all into monsters.
Oh, whoops. Oh, I spaced out.
No,
No,
don't do that.
dumbass.
We're
I
still
said
here.
no auto.
Don't shoot. Wait till we've left before you.
Lol. Fretfully, they're blasting out all the bullets of the Legion, completely headless of their own allies still on the battleground. That's crazy.
He's turned into a corruptor. Those
that
Red
was
Falcon
fast.
scum are definitely doing it on purpose. They're betraying their allies to buy time.
Yep. As the bullets are about to hit the Legionnaires, several Gonzalez guys are thrown out one after another to take this wave of contamination attack. They're howling as their bodies begin to distort.
Commander!
You guys, kill these monsters! I'm going after those
Kill that
spineless
boy!
traitors.
Her voice is low. Before anyone can respond, she runs straight in the direction of the Red Falcon has fled.
Even if she said that, handling this number of monsters while watching over several noobs is not that easy.
Noobs?
Cut the crap. If it hadn't been for the bomb, I would have already knocked off your head.
I love you, Hella.
Oh? Then how about the Legion takes care of the front, and you take care of those guys at the back?
Sure.
Just call for someone if you can't handle it anymore. The Legion will send help, Chief.
You better keep your word. Yep. Okay. Battle sequence skip.
This bastard hasn't done anything at all. All he does is stand there and walk.
Because there's no need. Your chief is very outstanding. Very outstanding.
Thanks, man.
Have all the
Should I be
enemies
scared?
been eliminated?
The commander is not back yet, meaning the battle is probably not finished yet. The smarter gangsters will certainly avoid her, go separate ways, and find a chance to attack us on their own. A real guerrilla will waste too much of our time.
He looks at you, eyes full of calculation and scheming. That's your trouble, not my business.
You're right.
He looks at you, considers briefly, and gives a faint smile.
Our partnership doesn't require you to fight. The Legion has got enough men. As long as the chief is alive and refrains from escaping, that's enough.
Okay.
How about this? If you want to stay safe, you can stay here. Hide yourselves well and take some rest. I'm bringing some guys to help the commander clean up the trouble. Then I'll come back to pick you up.
Okay. He gives orders to his subordinates, then turns to Ad before setting
You're
off.
smart. Don't get yourself into trouble.
Okay.
There are still too many gangsters hiding around here. Not all of them are brainless junkies like the Gonzales. Don't go wandering around. No one will come to save you if anything happens. See you around. Remember, don't die.
I'll try, of course. Once you've made sure he's out of sight, you borrow Hella's pipe and draw a huge arrow on the sandy ground pointing toward the dark alley. Then you slip into it on your own.
Chief, what is this for?
Fishing. Ah, I see. Leading them directly to you. As expected, several men in black suits soon come out from behind the container, each of them carrying an Oriental-styled longsword. Oriental style.
Good evening, ma'am. Yagyu here.
Yo. Why are you white? He's like pale as a sheet of paper. Earl clearly wants to use you for some purpose, and you need more information of other sources as well. For example, information about these gangsters.
How did you spot these rotten fish? Be careful. The Yagyu members are well-dressed scumbags with no morals at all. If this guy claims to be an ordinary employee, don't believe him.
We're from Yagyu Limited, a long-established registered company in the West District that operates with integrity. We're not a gang.
Bah.
Bah!
Are you following us?
I pay attention to you. Until tonight, I hadn't seen you in Syndicate, ma'am. You are now with the Legion. Are you, ma'am?
No. I'm Ted's friend. Yeah, I'm good friends with Ted. Yeah. You used the lie you've made up. You're a newbie sheriff who just won Ted's favor. But then Ted was killed by Salva. After escaping from the clinic, you unfortunately ended up in the Legion's hands. You stressed the fact that the Legion took you to the crypt because they seemed to think you were hiding some information about the inheritance. But knowing nothing at all, you only want to ensure your own safety and escape.
No kidding. You'll fit in Syndicate quite well.
Upon hearing your explanation, the Yagyu executive's eyes brighten up briefly and a wicked smile creeps up on his face.
That's why you drew the mark to ask for help. It's very brave and resourceful of you to keep resisting, having already faced that woman. We can help you. Once we wipe out the entire Legion, Earl's curse will vanish automatically.
I guess the bombs just disappear.
You will be free then.
Can you beat Zoya?
The Gang Alliance has already laid an ambush in the central elevator. That place will be the Legion's grave. That woman is overconfident. She thinks the inheritance is already in her hands. But she doesn't know about...
He chuckles coldly and lowers his voice.
Her subordinate, the sinner who escaped from Salva and went out to do recon for her. She's supposed to be trapped underground now, half dead.
Horo?
Zoya has always been a jinx. Those who are close to her never end up well. If we're lucky, today may become the death anniversary of her whole Legion.
Nuh-uh. R is half dead? Where is she now?
You seem very concerned about her.
No, I'm just curious. Facing his doubtful look, you steady your emotion and change the question. I'm wondering what I can do.
Why don't you come with us now? Once we're back to our base, we'll discuss things in detail. No need to worry about that bomb. We can fake a combat scene to make him believe you were forced to leave instead of fleeing on your own.
Is this a chance to get away from the Legion? Or will Earl and Zoya be fooled by the staged evidence? Or perhaps even if they believe you're forced, he'll still detonate the bomb without any hesitation.
You're a valuable talent. We'd like you to join us. You've trained two sinners so well. No wonder you're Ted's friend.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, man. As you're still considering, hearing Ted's name suddenly startles you. What does it have to do with Ted?
In fact, Yagyu provides some special services too. Sinners like Zoya have completely fallen, but those like the two beside you. Sinners this age can become very useful if they're properly trained. Ted has had excellent achievements in this aspect.
Oh, fuck off, go away. That poor thing. Are you talking about a gray-haired sinner girl?
Oh, you've met her? Yes, in fact, we sold her to Ted.
We have to kill you.
We only knew sinners were dangerous at that time.
We have to kill you.
We never expected they could be trained like that. They've got great power. More importantly, they obey and only take orders from
pipe
you.
him, pipe him, pipe him, pipe him.
Isn't that even better
Hella
than
pipe
the
him.
Mania weapon? What a shame they were destroyed in Salva yesterday. Otherwise, they would have stood here today and fought alongside us in the final battle. In order to defeat the Legion, we need stronger power. Something even stronger than the Mania weapon.
He smiles at you, but you're slowly clenching your own fists, your nails digging into your palms uncontrollably.
So, what do you think, ma'am? Surely these two beside you can.
Hella! Turn his brain to mush. This is your true purpose, isn't it? You don't care if I live or die, as long as you get the two sinners. The Yagyu executive's smile disappears.
Chief, relax your hands. Your palms are bleeding.
Chief!
Hella Hecate! Hella grabs the pipe and stands before you.
Don't force yourself if you can't stand it anymore.
Cave his face in! You guys are right, enough roleplay from me.
Liar! Fool! You mere sinners. Who exactly are you? Are you a lackey of the Legions after all?
Oh my god! I need to stop clicking where this
there's
choice
no
button
one
is.
else here?
Say whatever you want. It's time for your punishment.
Come out, thou voodoos! Carnivore! Stop hiding! You're gonna just sit and watch Syndicate get taken over by others?
We're going to kill you,
Those
bro.
are the ones hiding around here. They're all carrying Mania weapons.
Idiot! This is our territory, stocked full of our arms everywhere. We won't. Syndicate's order can't be spoiled further. This is our justice. We'll give you neither the inheritance nor Syndicate. It belongs to us.
I choked on my own spit. Excuse me. Oh.
It's the Mania. Did they suffer a backlash from their own weapons?
Who knows? I say they've always been insane like this, Mania or not. Let's finish them off.
Yes, Hella.
Are you okay?
Perhaps you're triggered by these people who are gradually losing their sanity, or you're suffering the side effects of using your protest test out of range. Your senses have become a lot sharper now. You can clearly feel the nauseating presence clashing increasingly hard in the depths of the earth. Its influence over you has suddenly been amplified.
Chief, I'll hold them off. Hella, you get Chief out of here and find the Legion.
Hecate, are you out of your mind? What a crappy plan!
Yeah, tell her. Tell her, Hella. Stop kidding.
Your safety is our priority. That's the order I've received. I can't let you take the risk.
Pookie, what the fuck are you talking about? No. The way this kid's mind works maddens you a bit, especially when she says things like this with a blank face. You finally understand. It's not because she's cold and ruthless. In the face of orders, Hecate is blunt and stubborn like a plank of wood. We'll only be worse off without you. If you really want me to live, stay beside me and protect me till the end.
Is that an order?
Yes, that's the chief's order.
Got it. I'll protect you until the end.
I didn't know there were so many people hiding around us. Could it be that all the gangsters have been lured here? We've already made such a scene. Where are the guys from the Legion? I thought they said they'd protect us.
I don't know. Maybe they're testing your loyalty or something. You're not sure if you feel your suddenly quickened your heartbeat first or hear the loud noise first. A massive truck suddenly crashes down from above, tumbling between you and the thugs. After some howls and cries, the other side quickly falls silent in fear. So Aura! Several familiar figures appear atop the truck. Even against the moonlight, you can still clearly see Zoya's cold eyes.
No wonder I barely found anyone. You've all come here for her, huh? I thought you wanted a fight with the Legion.
They're cowards, Zoya.
You put out a good bait. Now everyone's here.
He's fishing too?
Fuck! He's fishing too?
No way. Where's the Red Falcon? They've sent so many people and taken the most weapons. They couldn't have lost. They couldn't have!
The Legion is just built different. Oh, shoot.
They were indeed numerous. I can't bring them all back. I've only kept a few on me. Take them as souvenirs.
Souvenir. She throws down a full handful of bloody dog tags, smashing them onto the gangsters' faces. They yelp and fall onto the ground, backing up.
No! Don't come over!
Treacherous cowards. Even the authorities' lapdog has a thicker spine than you.
Ooh, that's a real low blow. She curses and leaps down straight from the container, landing hard on the ground. She grabs the collar of one of the guys. Debris keeps falling on his face, making him howl loudly in response.
Mercy! Mercy! I yield! I yield! It's all the boss's order. I'm only a salaried employee. I was forced into it. I have to survive. And the only way to do it is to join a gang. You know what it's like. That's how things work in Syndicate. I had no other options. Spare me.
This guy talks a lot. This guy talks so much.
It's all Syndicate's fault.
His howls are extremely sad, but Zoya's face is only growing colder. She draws out his long sword silently. Fine blood-red crystals are embedded on one side of the sword.
You've got a good sword.
Oh shit.
A mania weapon. The fancy type used for commendation within Yagyu. You've been taking good care of the sword. You love it and are proud of it.
So you're lying out of your ass?
How many people did you kill with it to win this honor? Among them, how many were kids, civilians, and innocent people? Did they die? Or did they get infected with the mania? When you wield the sword, are you happy? Are you proud? Are you counting your kills and waiting for the next prize? How many more good swords like this have you got?
She breaks the Mania longsword with her bare hand, then grips the Yagyu executive's neck.
It's Syndicate! Syndicate turned me into an evil person. It's not just me. It does that to everyone. Spare me. You already won. No one else can beat you. According to the rules, you're the overlord of Syndicate. You're the boss. I'll do whatever you say. Just don't kill me.
No, kill him, kill him, kill him.
It's all Syndicate's fault. I'll destroy every part of it, including you.
God, she's so badass.
You've long become part of it.
Oof. Her hand tightens. The Yagyu executive grunts once, then goes quiet completely.
Overlord? It's because of the desire for such a thing this place has become what it is. I don't want to be your king. I want your death.
God, she's so badass. Dead silence. After a long while, she turns toward the Legion. Her voice is calmed down.
I did it too quickly. Go and grill some of the other ones. Ask them where the inheritance is, who sent them, and who gave them the weapons. Once you're done, finish them off.
She stalks past you with her eyes staring straight ahead, but you still see the flames in her eyes vividly. It's those icy flames again. You've finally confirmed there's no future in her eyes, only an obsession with bringing destruction and death to the past. You're no exception. You're the authorities' lapdog, her enemy. You must get away from her. She's so interesting. She's not like a completely noble figure, but there is an angle that's noble too. Her motivations, I guess. She thinks Syndicate's run to the core and she needs to tear it all down to shreds before it can be rebuilt into something good again. Wait, which one did I just read? Was it Script of the Week or was it Struggle of the Abandoned? I think it was Script of the Week.
That's the central elevator.
Yep. In front of you is a huge freight elevator that goes into the depths of the earth. Traces of recent and frequent use are clearly visible. The containers around it are shockingly piled up full of various mania weapons.
So this is their arsenal, huh? No wonder they had the audacity to pick a fight with me.
The above-ground part is only a warehouse. The equipment for assembling weapons should be underground, kept together with the inheritance.
The underground waves are becoming more and more intense. The feeling is similar to that when a sinner corrupts, and it makes you even sicker.
All right, all of you stand by here. Clean up the trash while you're at it. Now, I'll go down with the Bureau's guys to retrieve the inheritance.
Are you kidding me? We've already fought the whole day. None of us are risking our lives to go down with you.
You don't have to come. I only need your chief to follow me.
You...
Yay, it's a date. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Let her be.
Oh, you've given up resisting?
Let's get this over with. Because it's pointless to resist you.
You were a lot tougher when you were dealing with Yagyu.
Her tone sounds a little complimentary, but you can't care less about such things now.
Without me, you won't make it back out alive. Also, I've seen too many people who want to kill me. You haven't got the kind of dead stare they have.
So you trust me? You trust me? You trust me? You think I'm trustworthy? You trust me? Indeed, you don't have that kind of stupid idea in your mind. You don't plan to go down with her. Several contamination grenades blow up the stacked weapon boxes on the side. Black spikes are bursting out and clumping up to form filthy, crawling creatures.
You're not going down.
Oh my god, can these guys go away?
And I won't let you have Syndicate. You all will die here.
Seems that some of them fell through the cracks. Earl, protect the Bureau's team.
No need, we can fight.
Fine. If you can't hold it off, just scream for help. This time, I'll save you.
Wow. No, this time you'll control how the story unfolds.
The Yagyu executive was right. There are indeed other ambushes.
It's not gonna work. They're only dying for nothing. Hey, we gotta think about our next step. We can't really go down with her. Hecate, attack coming on your right.
I saw it.
Boy, why are you showing off your cleavage? Survived Yaoi? Sorry. Survived Yagyu member is growling as he charges at Hekate, his body entirely driven by a hysterical fear right now. Bro said Yaoi. Survived Yaoi. No, I need to read. I have to read. You push Hekate away and fall into the thug's grasp in her stead. I can't do this.
Chief.
Stop. You murmur. Hekate reads your lips and stops her hand from releasing Nightmare. At that moment, that ever-changeless face suddenly seems confused. The next second, his knife is already on your neck.
What happened?
Chicken butt.
Don't come near, or I'll cut off her head.
Huh?
You lied that you were their enemy. The Legion seems to care about you a lot. You're my hostage now.
The way you speak certainly changed. Wait, no, that's a different guy. He moves while dragging you, retreating toward the secret passage behind him step by step.
You ass! Give her back!
She's not even censoring her. Oh, it may be the same one. I thought she fucking snapped that guy's neck. That is true. That does look like her claws. Shoot.
Zoya? Why are you standing there? Go and save her. She was only taken because of you.
The accident makes the whole Legion freeze. Earl looks at you hesitantly, then at his commander. He doesn't make the next move. But Zoya is only staring into your eyes and laughs.
You're not gonna scream for help?
Her gaze is piercing. You struggle a little to show respect.
Oh.
Hekate is wordlessly pulling back Hela, who's gone berserk, while Zoya is only standing still and watching the Yagyu member drag you into the narrow passage, roughly. You can't hear her last sentence. Yagyu chops open the contaminated weapon box. The spikes burst out and block the road. Then he drags you into the darkness brutally. Okay, bro, we get it. He's doing it aggressively. This is the first step. You got rid of the Legion. Oh, we're almost close to finishing this chapter. You've been taken to a secret warehouse. Some bizarre weapon boxes have been cracked open forcefully, scattering around on the ground chaotically. A dozen of the remaining thugs all graduated. Graduated? What? Huh? What? Dude! All gathered here, discussing your exit plan. My brain reads things.
I want to go back. I shouldn't have believed your crap. I shouldn't have even...
You can't shirk a job
Congrats
like
to
this.
the graduate. Don't
Those
say
who ran
that,
away
no.
last time all got buried by their own
graduate.
bosses. This is a job from them, and your only option is to get it done. We must destroy the Legion. And don't forget the weapons. The weapons they gave us. More and stronger Mania weapons.
What good do weapons do? A few hundred people came, and now there's only a dozen of us left. Even if we had all the Mania weapons in the world, what are we supposed to do with them? You've all seen it. God knows what's gotten into that woman. She's not fazed by contamination at all this time.
He got the shackles.
We can't win.
We still have the hostage. Zoya
We still have the
needs
hostage.
that person.
Why did he grow like a little bit of southern accent when he said hostage? Sorry.
Inheritance. We still have the inheritance. The Voodoo's will lies there. The path she takes is filled with traps. Thou Voodoo's will bring divine punishment to them. Go to the second downward well. The path closer to the inheritance. It's
Could it be
here.
Could it be a path to nowhere?
All right.
No.
All right. That's our only option now. The inheritance lies down there. If we're lucky enough, we can still flip things around. Take the hostage and get going.
Where are we going? You're lying on the ground and trying hard to gather information. At the same time, you swallow the pain, silently feel the shackles within you, and feel the presence of the sinners on the other end of the shackles. The unusually strong one has already gone down, the other two approaching in your direction. Luckily enough, one of them probably has spotted traces you left behind. You've won half the bet. As the Yagyu member has said, the underground station's already gone out of Zoya's control. She's not gonna waste time on you. She'll certainly choose to go down. Before she comes back, Earl must be standing guard by the elevator. He can't leave his commander alone, and he absolutely won't kill you now and let the commander be exposed to contamination. As long as the two sinners can find you, you'll still be on track. As you're thinking, your captors have come before you.
Get up! Gotta go! You're lucky you're still useful to us. Otherwise, I would have killed you hours ago, you...
Okay, man. Damn. He drags you up roughly. The argument and the fact that their loss are obviously annoying him. You must try to buy time. You can't be moved yet, at least not before they find you. With this thought, you grit your teeth and force a smirk. It's kind of embarrassing to get mad because you lost. A punch lands hard on your head. The man in suit has foregone all his grace. He grabs your collar and begins yelling.
Prick! You eating lapdog of the Legion! Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up! Shut up!
Ugh. If it hadn't been for that stupid little trick you pulled on us, Yagyu's team wouldn't have been stopped there and gotten ruined by the Legion. It's all your fault! It's all your fault!
Okay, man. Ow, 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 ow. His eyes are bloodshot and his punches keep landing hysterically on your body, one after another. He's taking out his rage from the loss on you. Extreme pain makes you too weak to keep sensing, but your sanity remains. If he yells even more loudly, will the sinners hear him? Control yourself. Your life depends on your hostage now.
You face! I'm gonna shoot you!
Bang! With a huge blast, a black shadow jumps out behind you, charging at the man hitting you. He gets bounced off and hits a storage rack a few meters away, moaning. Lamau. The nightmare is standing before you. Its shape makes it look like it's boiling. A low rumbling is flowing out from its core as if it's raging. Meanwhile, the girl's voice rings behind you. Chief!
Please don't get hurt while I'm not around, Chief.
She's very calm in the early chapters. Whenever Chief gets into trouble.
You've given me the order to stay beside you and protect you until the end. If that's what you want, please always stay within my sight.
A pair of warm hands hold your back gently, supporting your body covered in wounds. You can finally relax.
You run too fast. Did you find the chief? You...
Youch.
What the? Which bastard did this to you? Who did this?
Who did this? Oh my god, you care. You care so much. You care so much. You care. You care. She care.
Let me massage it a little. Does it still hurt?
You're being so nice.
Oh no. How could they do that to you? Even I've never beaten you up like this. Why did you have to provoke them?
I'm sorry. Damn, even I didn't beat the shit out of you this bad. You're so funny, Hello. I love you, Hello. You want to say it looks worse than it feels, but it's rare to see those two look so worried about you. Just let them be. How did you guys find me? It's not an easy route from the central elevator to here. Hello's so real. I love Hello. Everyone must love Hello. She's not perfect, but she is likable.
Just like Chief can locate sinners with the shackles, we can sense your presence too.
I say everyone must love Hella, and then I remember like a few comments she made during the Corrin event. I'm like,
Although it was very faint, I heard your call on the other end of the shackles. It's all thanks to the shackles that I could come back to your side.
Her voice is still so calm and expressionless. Meanwhile, the nightmare flows to your side and rubs at your what? Your what? Rubs at you gently. Okay, I'm guessing that's a typo that never got fixed.
Just as you expected. Zoya went down by the central elevator on her own. Earl is guarding the entrance.
Matcha latte.
The underground situation is precarious for them as well. The Legion can't spare anyone to come and stop you.
Did they release these two to save you so that the shackles can be preserved and they can let others help finish off the remaining gangsters?
To remove the Legion's control over Chief, we must get in touch with the Bureau before Zoya comes back from underground. We must look for ways to disable Earl's power. Let's go, Hella. We should leave this place.
No, we should continue our search. At least until Zoya returns from the underground. You will still be safe and free. You've never been closer to the target.
Inheritance. We still have the inheritance. The voodoo swill lies there. The path she takes is filled with traps. Thou voodoos will bring divine punishment to them.
That path leads to nowhere.
Go to the second downward well. The path closer to the inheritance. It's here.
But...
Chicken. You kick open the weapon box left behind by the gangsters. They're still filled with mania weapons. According to Ted, mania crystal is a rare commodity. Yet the gangsters here each have one of these. It's they who are distributing the weapons and spreading rumors around about the inheritance. Who are they? What do they have to do with the inheritance and the mania crisis?
Wait, I recognize this stuff.
She picks up the weapon box cracked open by the gangsters. It holds a broken jar with some blood-red liquid left inside. A ring is printed on one spot, with the letter P marked in the center of the ring. Is this a mania crystal in its liquid state?
No, that's not what it's called. I understand now. I should have recognized it sooner. Mania crystals are extracted from sinners' bodies. This is an experiment done by those bastards. But why is it here? They have already...
Oh my god, bro, I keep clicking in the choice area. What experiment? The intense shaking interrupts your question like a massive heartbeat coming from underground. You've never felt the inheritance's presence so strongly.
Hella, let go.
The nightmare knocks off the jar in Hella's hand. It smashes on the ground and suddenly lets out countless black spikes. They're wriggling and reproducing rapidly like living things.
Who knew that tiny piece of mania crystal can turn into such a big one?
The ground beneath you suddenly crumbles. Countless longer and sharper contamination spikes are crashing through the concrete floor. You're falling down to a mezzanine level. There are more weapon boxes with the letter P piled up here. Now they're all bursting open from within and the contamination is pouring out.
Why is it here? Haven't they all... Are they here for her?
Hella, focus. Fight.
Filthy monsters are emerging one after another from the wriggling contamination. After this, I think I'll read Hella's and 99's interrogations because they're kind of relevant to this.
Chief, we must get out of here. There's something dangerous.
And then after that, I'll
underground.
end stream because it has been an hour and a half.
It's ahead of us.
Hella, where are you going?
Those lingering ghosts. They're right ahead.
She rushes towards the source of the red light. It's a hidden door that's been blasted open. Behind the hidden door is a narrow and well-concealed laboratory. Light passes through several jars filled with red liquid and makes the entire narrow space blood red. The jars are printed with the sharp text, Parma Type 99.
This is...
Another wave of pulsations. Several jars blow up at the same time. The blood red liquid spills out and is spreading on the floor. Slowly, a few ominous shapes are gathering in the liquid. Though the features are so smudged, the madness and bloodthirstiness still remind you of someone. Is it the Legion's mercenary who attacked us?
No, that's only the polymer of the contamination. It's more dangerous than that sinner. Is it also caused by the mania crystal? Hella, fight! Hella, what are you doing?
She's having PTSD flashbacks, bro. Hella's watching that controlled shape blankly, her whole body trembling.
99?
Get it together. That's not a human.
I know!
But she obviously can't hold up her body anymore. She flops down on the floor and starts dry heaving.
I understand now. That's why those gangsters can use Sinner's power. Damn it! Those bastards at Parma. How dare they do that to her? How could they do such a thing?
Is her name 99?
I don't want to say it.
You have to at least explain this.
This is an experiment done by a bunch of scumbags. Those mania crystals kept in the jars and robbed by the Syndicate gangsters were all extracted from Sinners. All those different mania abilities held by the mania weapons were all extracted from the Sinners with their respective abilities. Those bastards tortured us all for this thing. Those bastards. I have to kill them.
She smashes her fist on the floor. Her hand is cut and the debris caught to the wound hinders her regeneration. You hold her hand without saying anything, trying to calm her down.
But we've never seen mania crystals go manic to this extent. Why would the substance extracted from Sinners turn into contamination?
It must be the effect of the inheritance.
Go to the second downward well. The path closer to the inheritance. It's here.
You finally find the second elevator. From the gap of the ajar door, filthy substances continue to leak out. This place is undoubtedly connected to some kind of underground presence and is being affected by it. Perhaps even the inheritance has gone out of control. It must be an extremely evil power. Something even more fearsome and deeper than you can imagine. You feel fear not because you want to escape, but because fear is a premonition. If you ignore it, it's bound to cause even worse disasters.
Chief, it's dangerous.
But the inheritance in the underground is even more dangerous, and so is the person going to retrieve it. Should you turn back or go even deeper? The image before you parted ways emerges in your brain. Her eyes and that sentence you didn't catch are now appearing vividly in your mind.
I'll...
Chinese? Is not dubbed? Okay, I guess this doesn't have an English voice line. You read her lips. How long is chapter 4? It is a couple parts long. No, it's the same length as previous chapter. Whoops. So okay. I'll read Hella and 99's interrogations now. in the order they're supposed to be read in, so Chief something knows. Yeah, Chief something knows Mandarin. Miss Worldwide over here. Where the hell? Where are you? Hella. 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 Hella, please. Where are you? I'm gonna cry, bro. Can I filter? B-rank only. Thank you. I passed Hella. Yeah, I did. Okay, I didn't notice her. Let us reread this. Okay, I think this is supposed to be read like after the first chapter.
Here.
So she's
I've
not.
been waiting a while, and I was
I watched
getting
you
bored.
scroll past her. My bad. Yeah, this is before chapter 3, or before chapter 2 even. This is when Hella was still kind of hostile to you. Supposed to be.
Come on in. Didn't you want to interrogate me, Chief? Whoa, that's bright.
The white light suddenly illuminates a young woman in the dark, squinting against the brightness. I'm sorry, do you want me to turn it off?
No, it's like that on purpose, to deter us bad guys. You, though, Chief, look a little inexperienced. Is this your first time interrogating someone? Do you know what to do?
To understand you better.
That's so gentle, Chief. Really classic good cop. Looks like you know what you're doing.
There is no laughter in her eyes, even though she has never... What? She was never a cute and sweet girl. Her anger at this moment seems extraordinary. It's as if the person before you isn't the sinner who fought beside you shoulder to shoulder, but a hostile and intimidating criminal.
Let's get down to it, Chief. What do you want to ask? Do you want a record of my accomplishments in the Syndicate? The Public Security Bureau has an extremely thick file all about me. Shall we take a look?
Okay. From NF 100 to NF 109, Hella committed 26 thefts, 35 scams, 5 kidnappings. There are even 15 prison breaks on a record. She used sympathy for her own wounds. She played sympathy and lied to help her buddies get away with crimes. Remember, there is no such thing as innocence in syndicates. They all grow up to be vicious and cunning criminals. That dirty rat, she's treating the Public Security Bureau like she can just come and go as she pleases. No matter what we do to her, she's still unrepentant. Let's just leave her to die in the syndicate. It's a record that makes your eyes water. If this was a normal criminal career for the weak of the syndicate, you could see how the district had deteriorated to this point. It's just that nowhere in this record has any explanations of Hella using her sinner ability. Quite the opposite. It was a record of Hella constantly being arrested and injured. She came across as a very weak girl. You never had any special power?
You figured it out! I wasn't born a sinner, and the transformation was a long process. Next, you're going to ask me, when did the transformation happen? What happened? Who was involved? Right? Your predecessors had already asked those questions countless times.
And no more a good girl. Hashtag ethical syndicate. Ethical syndicate, I don't know. Fix your attitude! So will you tell me? Will you tell me?
You collected all that evidence. Why don't you try and guess?
I'm sorry. She softly taps her temple with her finger. I'm sorry. It's a bit evidence. Medical examination on arrest shows signs of experiment on you over the past 3 years. In addition, you have no criminal record from NF 109 to NF 111, which is rare. FAC suspects that you are an illegally artificially created sinner.
Oh? How do I put this? I'm not educated. I don't really know what human
Can you explain it to me? Well, it just so happens that what you're holding in your hand may have something to do with human experimentation. This is data recovered from a mania weapon core. The core experiment mentioned is subject number 327. That's you, right? The experiment was a success and had an unexpected benefit. Regeneration ability. Syndicate girl. It's not likely there's another one like her.
Phew! Where did you get that? That deserves a round of applause.
Tell me the details. This report was found near a mania weapon. I'm very interested in the connection between them. What experiments did they perform on you? What was the goal? Was it to create a sinner? Why did you participate? Was it of your own free will? That question you don't ask.
Deduction time is over, and now you're going to ask some questions? Don't waste your time. I'm not gonna tell you anything.
For a moment, only the harsh sounds of the monitoring equipment echo in the interrogation room, and the atmosphere becomes even worse than when it started.
Why are you surprised? Did you think locking me up in a place like this, putting the cuffs on me, and acting a little sweet would make me obediently explain everything? Don't look down on me! I've been arrested enough that I got tired of your games a long time ago! You're all the same! Are you afraid of me? Hate me? Because I'm a criminal? A sinner? Are you gonna beat me next?
Her anger suddenly explodes, too honest to cover up.
Damn thing. I should never have saved you like an idiot. Taken hits for you. If I had known you were like this, I would have beaten you with a hammer, you idiot!
She seems extremely fierce. All monitoring instruments are alerting, reminding you that things will be difficult to handle if you don't make a proper response. But you notice more subtle emotions hidden beneath her intense overreaction. It's not the first time you have glimpsed the cracks in her heart. Now you know what to do. You were hoping for me to be different than the others?
Huh?
Together, we beat up the gangsters that bullied you, fighting shoulder to shoulder for so long. Yet I put you in this interrogation room. You thought we would be more than an interrogator and a criminal, but I let you down. Is that why you became so angry?
What are you talking about? No, it's not.
Oh, Hella. All of her eloquence falls away. It seems like she hadn't been aware of her own feelings. After a moment, she seems at a loss. I'm sorry I was so slow.
What are you talking about? Don't start acting all affectionate. I still don't.
She's just a kid.
What are you doing? Stay back!
She sees you stand and leans backward as if she's frightened. If she weren't handcuffed, she would probably jump up and run away. Do you want me to release your hands? We've been through a lot together. We don't have to go through this whole process. We should be more like friends. You've helped me a lot, and I don't want anything to make you unhappy.
Stop! Stop! This is getting indecent!
This is getting indecent!
Did you come here today just to disgust me? Listen, it's a question of manners. What you're talking about has nothing to do with friends. I'm just mad that you don't know how to be grateful.
Thank you very much.
Still disgusting. I'm going back. Hey!
She makes noise for a while, but eventually quiets down. Although she's a bit indignant and distressed, her earlier hostility is gone.
Forget it. I already knew you were a freak. Nobody with all their marbles would ever talk with a sinner.
No, sweetheart, they're all just assholes. This is a compliment. Sort of.
I don't need friends.
With this, she hardens up again. What about your partners?
Huh?
Your partners in crime? You were always taking the rap for them. At least she definitely wouldn't do the same for you. After a moment of silence, Hella's eyes become as cold as ice, or rather, disgusted.
Those guys weren't friends. We just used each other for what we needed. They needed a miner who would get off, and I needed to keep living. In the Syndicate, without friends, An orphan like me can just die in a dark corner.
But they abandoned you every time, left you to get beaten in the Public Security Bureau. If it was just a mutual arrangement, well, the hell I know would never take that, so... Why did you go along with them reluctantly?
I'm very open-hearted.
She's putting on a brave face again, but after a moment she looks away and avoids your gaze.
When I was little, I still thought that if they needed me, if I was useful, I could become their friend.
Oh, hello.
No one ever told me what a friend was. Don't look at me like that. It's all in the past.
You were a kid!
But after I was sold for money, I woke up.
Poor thing, what happened?
Nothing hard to explain. It's just like you all thought. Human experimentation. That year, the Syndicate brought in a few strange researchers who were looking for helpless orphans and were willing to pay big. They took them away to perform so-called superhuman experiments. My friends tricked me and sold me as an experimental subject.
Wait, the line delivery on the last line was her voice wavers a bit here. It's kind of
That year, the Syndicate brought in a few strange researchers who were looking for helpless orphans and were willing to pay big. They took them away to perform so-called superhuman experiments.
Oh. Whoa.
For beer money.
Fuck. There's an unbearable silence. The tragic descriptions in the Parma report are swimming through your mind. What kind of experiments?
I don't remember. Needles every day, strange drugs, electric shocks, making us drink some kind of black mud. Oh yeah, that was something that leaked out of corruptors. Then, they'd record our reactions.
Oh.
If I cried, some perverts would get really excited. That was when I decided I would be just like them. I would never shed another tear. I gritted my teeth through it all. Until one day, the place they cut me closed up all of a sudden. They said I had transformed into a superhuman. Hey, I am a sinner. But I can't be sure it was the experiments that did it. In the end, most of the people who were experimented on along with me died. It's definitely because of my superhuman will.
Hello. She smiles, but you feel uncomfortable. And then? Was it over?
How could it be over? Even if it wasn't the ability they really wanted, those bastards could definitely find another use.
The report says that you were treated as a consumable material, and some monster would torture you and attack you with blades.
Don't call her that. And anyway, aren't I a monster
shit.
too? The way I can't die.
Wait, they forced 99 to attack? That's fucked up. I forgot about that.
That's right.
I completely forgot about
The
that.
researchers thought that contact between monsters could further strengthen special powers. And my unlimited regeneration ability made me an excellent punching bag. Every day, they would cut me, burn me, see how much I could take, see how fast I could recover. Those brutes found ways to prolong the experiment. Don't ask for specifics. You couldn't handle hearing about it.
You think about the mysterious force called Parma, their relationship with mania weapons, and what they did to Hela. Think about how she was only... You feel your blood. You feel your blood rising. Sorry. I don't know. My voice. my voice broke a little bit. I won't let them get away with this.
What are you mad about? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't have anything to do with you.
But it has something to do with you.
What do you know about it? I'm not going to sit here and let you pity me.
She whooshes back, her face alert, and raises her head to glare at you. But she seems at a loss. Is she putting on her bad guy face again? Or does she just not want you to worry? Anyway, once she pulled herself together, she clears her throat and begins to speak.
Alright, don't worry like a mother hen. I am a smart and cute and strong and clever young woman. and I wasn't gonna be beaten that easily. It took me less than a year to escape their clutches, thanks to my superpower and smarts. And there were good things about it, too. Once I became a sinner, I could take care of myself. I didn't have to do what everyone else wanted, and life in the Syndicate was good. I could go out and beat them up for a change. What a release!
Good for you, Pookie. I'm so happy for you. I'm so sorry, but I lost.
Still have such
But
a
good for you.
worried face. Let me tell you what my motto is. What don't kill you makes you stronger. Remember? And I can't be killed, so I only ever get stronger.
Thanks, I got it. Yours is the urge to correct her grammar, though you'll give her a refresher when you have a chance. The joke pulls you out of your hellish reverie, and she looks more relaxed now, too.
So there's nothing to worry about. I'm a Syndicate rat who can't be killed and can't be held. I'm free, and soon even this place won't be able to hold me. And
No,
that
you're
day
too
comes,
plot relevant. You
don't
just
cry over me. After all, power shifts.
Oh wait, shit. Foreshadowing. I really like how you cough. Thank you. That was from the heart. It's the immersion. Yeah, I can cough on command. Convincingly enough. Looking at her face, if you didn't know any better, you would assume her rating increased to an S. But whether it was escaping the lab or cowing the Syndicate, Hella's accomplishments are astonishing. Her strength is incomparable. Even her attitude towards her abominable past is surprisingly calm and positive. You can't help but feel that maybe Hella gained something more important. Something like a real friend. The report notes that Sinner Hella resumed Syndicate activity in 110 with a strong partner carrying a machete, invincible even during a gang war. It looks like you didn't just gain power.
Huh?
You got a new partner. A strong and loyal one. After all, you never got sold out to the Public Security Bureau again. That's great, Hella. You found a true friend. Hella pouts and yells at you, pretending not to care.
She's not a friend. Just a stray I took in who would have starved without me.
You care about her.
Boss.
You love her. You care about her. You imagine Hella as a boss and can't help but smile. After she was caught, she must miss her a lot. Do you want to go back and see her? If you're on a good behavior, I can help you apply for supervised release.
I don't care. It's not like I can't get out of here. One day. But you... don't go to her. I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to stand it.
She sounds quite proud. Seems that this new partner is a strong one. According to the arrest report, her partner was a strong warrior armed with a machete. She is bloodthirsty and violent, hard to control in battle, and definitely terrifying. Wait, you suddenly realize something isn't right. The bloodthirsty monster designated number 99 participated in the experiment on Hella, the monster who caved on her thousands of times, the Sinner Lab. Where did you meet?
Why do you ask?
In the lab? Hella's expression shifts from suspicion to alertness. She clearly knows what you have guessed. If her new partner really is the monster in the Parma report, the terrifying being with the uncontrollable madness who hurt Hella so many times. Number 99. Why would you choose to be with her? The monster who harmed you so many times could easily keep hurting you.
Don't call her a monster. This has nothing to do with you. What? Do you want to catch her too? Keep her captive like me? Don't even think about it. I'm not telling you anything about her.
Her gaze cools down. Suddenly the distance between you feels even greater. I'm just worried about you. I'm not like those researchers. I don't want to see you get hurt again. She starts and her watchful face looks guilty for a moment. She grits her teeth and buries her head away from your eyes.
It was better when you treated me like a criminal. Don't worry about me so much. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We aren't friends, and can't be friends. It was doomed from the start.
But why?
Look in your hands. Friends would never limit each other's freedom, but your existence is our greatest shackle.
This was a successful interrogation. You have obtained a lot of precious information about Hela's creation, her ability, and the human experimentation she was a part of, as well as her loyalty and attention to her friend. You even think that your relationship with her has progressed a little, even if it is an illusion. As for her valued, deeply suspicious friend, you still don't know a thing. We can't be friends. Okay, guys. Escape message. Yeah. I need to read 99's intro for Hellas. These are all the A ranks I read the interrogations for. Yay. Where are you? There she is. Oh god, she has 3 phases. Oh boy. She has a really tragic interrogation. Okay, yeah, sure, I think I can read it. I think I've got it there. I'm so tired. Okay, yeah, go to sleep. I'll upload the VOD to YouTube anyways if you wanna, like, catch up. Hopefully sooner than later. Like last time. Last time I uploaded it the next day. Good night, trash. Warning lights flash intermittently along the corridor leading to the interrogation room. 99 trails behind you. The sound of heavy breathing mixes with the noise of the shackles dragging across the floor, sending chills down your spine. I'm here wide awake. I'm glad you're enjoying it here. Oh, LSI, you gotta leave too. Bye bye. I hope you have a nice day or night, whatever. Good time zone. Thanks for tuning in. Oh my god, I forgot how restrained she is in here. Yes, we've met.
I recognize your scent.
She's like a large guard dog, and Hela's like a small puppy. It's a really funny contrast. And you're kinda hot. Yeah, I feel like they know what they're doing. I feel like they know what they were doing here. 99 sits before you quietly, as if everything that happened was a dream. Yet you can still sense her primal instincts. Her senses are sharp even in the dark, prompting you to sit upright. Attempted murder? Attempted murder? After all, you tried to stab me a few days ago. The FAC considers you a high-level threat.
The Legion wanted me to capture you alive. I took their money, so I should do the job.
Do you do this sort of thing often?
What sort of thing?
Hunting down your target?
Yes, because they offer money, and we need money. Murder is the easiest job we can find.
99 answers calmly and casually as if discussing a mundane, everyday topic. But deep down, fear permeates through your body. Shackle jingles as a reminder. This woman is different from all the other captured sinners. Even though you turned yourself in to the MBCC, we have still yet to interrogate you to evaluate the risk you pose. I hope you'll cooperate.
I will answer all of your questions.
Now about the Legion's mission.
I already answered that question. They wanted me to catch you alive.
Are you sure you were trying to catch me alive?
Yes. I always try my best to complete the mission. Otherwise, they will dock my pay.
She's just doing her job. They asked you to capture me alive. I believe you were trying to take my life back there. 99 raises her head, even though her eyes are covered. Her gaze still pierces through you.
I was just carrying out my mission.
Girl.
They provided the coordinates and plans. and I'd kill or capture the target according to their requirements. That's it. But you're quite impressive. After all, you are still here, safe and sound.
99 dutifully answers all of your questions. She doesn't seem like a brutal monster who may chop people into pieces at all. But that makes her even more frightening. You can never be sure if she really has no intention of murdering you or is just waiting for the right moment. You try to focus. You put aside your fears and muster the courage to continue interrogating 99. Do you remember the monsters from the crypt?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They were strong and unafraid of my blades. They continued to attack even though their legs were chopped off.
Wait, is this spoilers for chapter 4? Maybe I should have waited for this one. I don't know. That's right, they are terrifying creatures. But I'm curious, they are quite similar to you. You gaze at 99 and quietly utter those words carefully. You hope to elicit a different reaction from her.
What are you trying to say?
99 suddenly speaks up. Her monotonous voice startles you. I was just curious.
We are similar because they came from my body.
What do you mean? Are they your clones?
No, I don't know what they are. But when my consciousness is blurred, many monsters looking like me would appear.
Oh wait.
It was the same in the crypt.
I see. Could it be mania crystals? The fear in your heart grew. The files do not show that the laboratory of Parma is conducting heinous and illegal experiments using mania crystals to make mania weapons. The files do show. You're so badly infected. You might be in manic. You might be in manic? When you lost consciousness. Based on what you said, it shouldn't be the first time this happened. Was this already the case when you were in the laboratory of Parma? You carefully uttered that name. Before you could finish, you felt the heat rise in the interrogation room. 99 glared at you with her blood-red eyes.
Yes. There, day after day, I was injected and would then fall unconscious. My temperature would heat up like boiling water. Then, I'd destroy everything I saw.
99 calmly recounts her ordeal in the laboratory, but her gaze remains fixated on you like a predator about to pounce on its prey.
I don't know why, but at that place, a lot of 99s came into being because of me. They were all monsters.
Did they really use your mania crystals to make weapons? Yep, yeah, they did use her like a bioweapon. 99's words make you gradually realize what went on in the laboratory of Parma. You look at her, whose eyes are quivering with resentment. I like how you can tell what, her eyes are covered, girl. Like, sure, you can feel her gaze on you, but you can tell her eyes are quivering with resentment. I don't know. You broke out X-ray vision. But at this point, you can't give up the chance to learn more about the Parma lab. You calm yourself down and pick up another file from the FAC. Let's talk a bit more about it. Other than drawing blood, what else did they do to you?
They took me apart here and here. Then they reassembled me.
Ouch.
They required me to fight, but I almost killed every opponent by accident. The arena's walls had blackened dents. Sometimes, I could even see broken bones and sticky mud-like substances.
Oof. There's a hint of fanaticism in 99's voice. It seems like she's looking for a fight with you, too.
Are you scared? Because I'm also a monster.
The dread inside the interrogation room envelops you bit by bit. There's no doubt that you're talking to a monster. Who are you?
I'm 99. But I'm also a monster.
Don't talk about yourself like that. Was Hella a monster too? Your instincts sense danger. Though 99 hasn't made a sound, you feel the suffocating dread building up around you. You know her.
Yes, I do. Actually, there's so much more than knowing between us. She's not a monster. She's the sunshine that lit up my world.
That's so sweet.
She took my hand and led me out from underground. She gave me freedom. I will always protect her for eternity.
It's a shame you don't get to see them interact much outside of early main story and the interrogations. This surprises you. When you interrogated Hela, she refused to talk about 99. You thought Hela hated 99. She's a girl who really holds grudges anyway. But 99's words changed your perception. 99's breathing quickened, and the entire interrogation room felt like a steamer. A chill went down your spine. 99 was exuding her desire to kill.
Are you done with your questions?
What? It is the first time 99 has asked you something in this interrogation room. Although she was bound, her words strike fear in your heart. 99 sits upright, blocking out the warning lights.
Now it's my turn to question you. Not long ago, there was a riot at the MBCC. Everyone has been talking about it. They said all the sinners had fled to Syndicate. Yet, I couldn't find her. I searched many places for many days, but she was nowhere to be seen. Do you know where Hela is?
Sure, I can tell you. Hela is still at the MBCC. She intended to escape under cover of the chaotic riot, yet failed.
She failed?
She couldn't break out of her cell. And she still tried to get away after we got her out of it. But she's a sinner. As the chief, I could not just let her slip away.
So, you constrained her?
Perhaps. When I regained consciousness, the shackles were already on her body.
I see.
99 nodded as she accepted your claims. However,
Hela is the freest little mouse in Syndicate. The gangster hideouts, the MBCC cells, and even the laboratory of Parma couldn't constrain her. How could she submit to your constraint?
99's tone is still calm, but you know from the room's rising heat that she has been incensed. That's a word. Steam rises from her skin, breaking the chains with rapidly increasing temperature. Giant dark shadows spread out from beneath her. Her mutated dark black hands effortlessly remove the muzzle in the blindfold.
I heard that. Once you shackle a sinner, the shackles will only break if one of you dies.
You suddenly realize that 99 wasn't so naive as to turn herself in. She's smarter than you thought, or rather, more wildly intuitive. She's here to kill you and rescue Hela. In the dark interrogation room, her eyes, red as Carmen Lucia Ruby, I don't know who that is, are fixated on your neck, where there are arteries, the most fragile part of your body. As danger edges closer and closer, you find yourself unable to move an inch.
You're lying, Chief.
In an instant, 99 pounces towards you, scalding the air around her. She's like a predator at the top of the food chain, hunting down helpless prey. In terror, you instinctively unleash the shackles' power and command 99 to not hurt you.
The shackles. So these are what you use to imprison us. And what keep her from coming back to me?
99 buckles under the power of the shackles, but shows no sign of surrender. The pain makes her even more enraged and violent.
You despicable scum! I want you to feel what it's like to be experimented upon!
Despite the shackles, she tries to attack you again and again. Her speed is slowed down enough for you to dodge, but the room begins to crumble from it.
I must kill you! I must kill you to free Hela! We shall both regain our freedom!
shackles linking you two start to tremor as if about to snap. 99's power is spraying mist everywhere, burning your arms.
You can't stop me! I must kill you!
Stop it, 99! You'll die if you keep this up!
I don't care if I die! I only want her! I'll do anything to free us from bondage!
The tremor from the shackles grows stronger and stronger. The force of the backlash makes you taste blood in your throat. Then, are you willing for her to be left all alone in this world? 99 doesn't stop attacking. She grits her teeth and spits out a few words.
As long as she can live free, I have no regrets.
Noticing noise in the interrogation room, Nightingale quickly summons help. But you must keep control of 99's shackles, or everyone will die from her attacks. 99, you have to stop using your power. Your Cinder Mania is going out of control. Do you not care if you become a real monster?
I am a monster! Free Hela!
She's dedicated. 99's mutations clearly worsening. Mania is eroding her. Keeping a tight grip on the shackles, you try to cope with the immense pressure. However, 99 seems to be accustomed to the pain. She struggles towards you step by step and grabs you by the neck.
Say it again! Free Hela!
Nightingale and the guards shoot at her, but boiling blood quickly pushes the bullets out of her body. Her grip on your neck doesn't loosen one bit. You feel yourself losing consciousness. Oh, it's Hela. A voice from the loudspeaker froze 99 in her track. You felt a grip on your neck loosening.
Where are you?
99 stumbles towards the familiar voice in confusion. Nightingale seizes the moment to electroshock 99 and injects her neck with powerful sedative. No! Take her to Hela! As 99 slumps to the ground, she knocks out a metal chair with a loud clang that transmits to the other end of the loudspeaker. Immediately, exasperated cries erupt from the other side. I can't do Hela's voice. 99! Nightingale cuts the speaker, but you have recognized the voice. It was Hela. Having lost consciousness, 99's temperature gradually returns to normal. After notifying your superiors, 99 is sent to a higher level security cell. Nightingale, what are the results? Due to Sinner 99's outbursts, the FAC has intervened in her case. She had been subjected to a long period of medical experimentation. Moreover, she had been exposed to mutation in the Black Water Crypt on the last mission. 99's limbs have mutated to become like those of a corruptor, and these mutations have spread throughout her body. When she was captured, she had already surpassed stage 1 of the infection, and was heading towards stage 2. You must have noticed that the shackles were no longer sufficient to halt her mutations. She will soon become a full-fledged corruptor. By then, she will corrode and contaminate your spirit even more. The FAC will not allow any harm to come to you. What are they planning to do? Execute the mutant sinner 99. And we're ending here! Yay! We'll finish this next time! Oh shoot, no. Don't close it. Yep. We'll finish interrogation and move on to chapter 2 next time. Hopefully in 2 weeks from now. Yay! So when would that be? Either the 21st or 22nd of February. Actually, I might do it next week if I'm feeling up to it. Yeah. Why not? Wait.
The evening breeze is just blowing through the window
Patrol
curtains,
blue.
and the other side of the river is lit up just right. You
Wow.
always manage to appear when my heart is at its softest.
Wow. Okay. We're gonna raid Hiragyu because I like Hiragyu, and usually I don't stream when it's time to be able to raid them, so I will be raiding Hiragyu. Thank you for watching. Wait, there's no underscores or anything or any such thing, right? I'm not fucking this up. Hiragyu VTuber? Yeah, yep, yes. Okay, no more. Thank you all for watching.